Alright, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. WCS, the winter just wrapped up. I'm pretty sure it was WCS winter, and that means there's a lot of replays to go through. So we're going to be casting ourselves what should be a fantastic Protoss versus Zerg on the map King's Cove. And yeah, we'll just jump right on into it. Spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it is Probe, an Australian player with a pretty familiar name. Happens to play Protoss. But no, yeah, Probe, probably the best Australian player in the scene. He's definitely one of the most consistent ones. Playing for Legacy Esports, I want to say. And spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's a very consistent Swedish Zerg player. It's Namshar. He's playing for Infinity Gaming, just so two great teams. But no, this series looked like it would be pretty good. Just going to be casting the first match to get things started. I actually saw on Twitter that Probe was like, oh yeah, I played through the entire tournament and none of my games were cast. So it's like, okay, we'll cast one of Probe's games to get it started off with. And yeah, should be great to see how this match is going to go versus Namshar. Protoss versus Zerg just should be a great one here. And speaking on that note, by the way, about WCS Winter and the casting of the games and everything, I know a lot of other YouTubers and such might just jump on the bandwagon and be like, okay, I'm going to cast the finals, but I generally just try and cast matches that haven't really been covered, say, by, like, the mainstream, by, like, anyone else, really, if possible, because, I mean, there's a lot of other great commentators out there, and but there's a lot of StarCraft 2 games, so no reason to have a ton of overlap. Of course, if there's any crazy games or anything, I might cast that, but I definitely won't cast the games that I watch, because, guys, trying to watch a game twice is just, it's just brutal. So I actually have no idea how this game or series went, which is great. Let's get a look at that production tab and see what's going on here as far as everything's concerned. I mean, I haven't been talking much about the game, and that's because it's been a pretty normal game so far, as just very standard openings from both these guys, just low ground wall off from Probe. Take note if you're an aspiring Protoss player how to do these proper wall offs here. It is interesting how he places the gateway here, there, instead of here. Like, what's the reason for that? You can ask questions like that, and some pro players will give you a different answer, and some will just say, just because. As far as this game going on, the Adept is moving out on the map for Probe. Just a very standard Chrono Boost that Adept out. Sentry going to be the follow-up. That being said, though, a Ling for Namshar has sort of snuck around. Sneaky little devil here, getting on into the base of Probe. And just going to be getting a full scout off, and actually going to probably identify the fact that it's a robo opening from Probe. Now, that is a very nice scout for Namshar. The Adept for Probe, not going to shade on in here, just confirming the third base, confirming that there's nothing out of the ordinary going on. And then a Stalker follow-up for Probe. So a bit of an interesting build coming out of the Australian Protoss here. We've got Pneumatized Carapace on the way, though, for Namshar, being one of those very safe Zergs, having that overward speed. They're basically just like, I don't know, really fast blimps or whatever, just flying on over. And if you are a Protoss player trying to hide something, and a Zerg has Pneumatized Carapace, you are not hiding anything. They are seeing everything, because the overwards, they just do such a good job when they've got that gas, and can just go on. Warp Prism giving high ground vision. Probe was like, I'm going to kill this overward. Nope. Namshar got overward speed, so that guy's just going to zip away. And yeah, can just scout everything out. Look at this. This overward, he just casually flies right on by. We see a lair on the way for Namshar. We have yet to see a Roach Warren or anything coming out of the Swede here. So yeah, let's see it, because, I mean, Probe's got a Warp Prism. That generally means at least some kind of aggression. 2 sentries and a Stalker is a bit of an odd composition. I guess Namshar taking it very, very lightly, though. I mean, he is just droning up. He throws up a Roach Warren now, but in comes Probe's sort of fake-out aggression. I don't know, that Prism is getting picked up and shuttled away. I mean, yeah, those units just getting on out of there. Just light aggression from Namshar. Look at that. I'm like, oh, you need to make units. Probe's coming in with a Prism. Nope. Namshar, cool as a cucumber, knows exactly how many units to build. And he's like, no, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to get ready for the next attack that's going to come in a minute or two. But look at this beautiful scout from Namshar here, just getting on in. This overlord just flies on over. It's not going to die. Do you know how hard it is to actually catch and kill a fast overlord? as the anti-air is literally 3 sentries and a stalker, most of which are across the map right now. Probe just being a pain with his prism, but we see 12 roaches on the way for Namshar, and he did stop at just 40 drones, so interesting choice from Namshar. Could be looking to put the aggression onto his opponent. He never did get that roach speed though, so these roaches most likely defensive. As I say that, they could just be getting rallied across the map. It's tough to say exactly, but for now, Ling at the 3rd base of Probe, seeing that it's just 2 base versus 3 base for now. The Zerg on the 3 bases. Namshar with his fair few Lings, but yeah, just looking at this. Safety first from Namshar. Now getting roach speed, now getting an Evo. Meanwhile, Probe, he is just making Immortals, getting +1, and a Twilight Council on the way back at home. So nice upgrades on the way for Probe. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him try and take a 3rd base soon, and that Probe is moving on out. Probe's probe is going towards that 3rd base, but he quickly nopes on out of there, seeing all those Zerglings hanging out. Probe gonna charge on in here with these Immortals and Sentries, enough to send those Lings packing. He wants that 3rd base up, and maybe Probe was planning a big attack or something like that, but then he quickly realized that it's like, okay, Namshar scouted everything because of these Overlords, and Probe's just like, yeah, look at this, you're completely safe. So Probe's like, okay, I'll macro up. I'll take my time. Lings are getting on in here for Namshar. They are going to find this 3rd base. I don't think they're going to be able to cancel it, although as I say that, I mean, a very nice surround. Are these Lings going to cancel the 3rd base? Force fields go down from Probe, though very sick ones at that, to save that Nexus. Always great seeing Protoss players do that. And then the Immortals just shredding into those Lings. 4 Immortals on the way for Probe. He's building up that very healthy Protoss Immortal count. So this is an interesting situation. This is one of the nice PvZs that are fun to watch here. There's a lot of PvZ games out there these days which you might watch, and that basically it's just like Protoss makes a prism, makes like 6 to 8 gateways, maybe an Immortal or 2, goes for it, tries to kill the Zerg. But Namshar, the fact that he went for that quick Overlord speed, he basically caught Probe red-handed, and Probe was like, okay, I guess I'll take this game later, which I'm a big fan of because he's building up a scary Protoss army right now, and just when I see a lot of Immortals, I get excited here as it's just awesome to see these sort of more drawn-out engagements, just see exactly how these players are going to take this. Because we're heading into that Lurker Mass Immortal stage. Templar Archives is on the way for Probe, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, look at this. Oh, cool. Even a Contaminate going down, so no Immortal popping out just for a bit. Great to see Namshar doing that. He's just got that speed, so he can scout everything his opponent's doing. As I say that we were maybe going to be having more of a passive game here, though, it looks like Probe is deciding to move on out, but Namshar, I mean, he's making Roaches, making a good number of Ravagers, even some Hydras on the way. One thing that is lacking for Namshar, though, is his creep spread. I don't know if Probe denied that or what, but we're 8 minutes into the game. His creep maybe should be a little bit further than this. Like, get that tumor going, because the Protoss is coming on in, and it's nice to have that creep to defend. For now, though, looks like Probe is just sitting back. His economy isn't that good here. His economy isn't that good. As, his 3rd base, like, look at it. There's not a lot of Probes here, and his name is Probe, but clearly that's not happening as he's only at 50 workers. He's now getting out a few more, but he definitely is planning on making an attack work, and he needs to. So Probe kind of pressuring himself here, maybe just going to wait for +2 attack, and he will have an upgrade advantage when that's done. But Lurkers could very well be done by that time, so we'll see how this is going to work out. There's no Psystorm or anything, so it's just a whack load of Zealots. 22 Zealots and 6 Immortals is a very serious army. Probe could just be going for it now. It could be a bit of an anti-timing. He's moving on in. His +2 isn't just done yet. Nice Corrosive Vials for Namshar, getting good connections there. Probe warping in more and more Zealots because apparently 22 isn't enough. He's got so many Immortals, and they put out so much damage, which is actually fantastic for the Protoss. I mean, you might be like, Hydras and Roaches in a straight-up fight will do pretty well, but the Immortals, they put out a serious amount of damage, and as a result, Probe just steamrolled the 4th base of Namshar. He's now maybe going up into the natural, which could be a little bit risky, as it's a good defensive location for the Zerg player up that hill. But yeah, 4th base gone down. Namshar now stuck on 3 bases. He's making Hydras, he's making Roaches. He finished up his Lurker Den, but no Lurkers out just yet. And while Namshar, he's got himself a good bit of supply. Probe, he's got Sentries, he's got these Immortals, and they will just chew through a Zerg army if it takes a bad engagement. Like, Namshar can't really go down because there's just going to be force fields thrown out for Probe. Everything considered, though, Probe, he can't push in right now. And make no mistake, like, Probe is just really buying time for now. He warps in some Zealots into the main base. He's just trying to pull his opponent apart. He is pushing on in. I think this is a little bit risky, eating a lot of Corrosive Bowels there, spending a ton of his Sentry energy. Probe is pushing on in, but yeah, can't make that attack work. There's just too much Zerg here. If we take a look at the supply, it's still pretty darn good for Namshar. That being said, back at home, though, for Probe, he's getting Psystorm. He's got up a couple of High Templars here. Bit of a counter-attack going down, but not a lot getting done. We are seeing Probe tossing down more force fields to cover his retreat. The Zerg player is looking to push on in, though. Namshar might just be going for blood. He's like, you killed my 4th base. I'm going to try and kill you here. Lots of Zealots getting on in here towards the 3rd base of Namshar. These are actually enough to actually maybe bring this down. But for now, Namshar really just focusing on this attack. Psystorm is done, and there's definitely Psystorm energy in these High Templars, so we are seeing that storm being dropped down. Namshar wants to keep pushing in, but that is way too much Protoss, I feel, with that Psystorm. It's just brutal. And now the 3rd base of Namshar under fire. Keep in mind, he never restarted his 4th base. He finished his Lurker Den, but we haven't seen any of those. So suddenly we're seeing Probe in a pretty darn good spot. I mean, the supply might be a bit deceiving, but the economy and the army just efficiency is pretty darn good. Looks like Namshar almost gets the Prism. Does he get it? Oh, he does get the Prism, which is very nice. Having cleaned that up, he's at least not having to worry about that anymore. But Probe, I mean, he's a 3-base Protoss now going up to 4. Namshar just starting up his 4th base as well. And if your base is starting up the same time as the Zergs, you're in a pretty good spot as the Protoss. I mean, Namshar, he already had his 4th up minutes ago, but it was killed, and he's now just rebuilding it. Starting to make a few Lurkers, I feel, as it is his only option. As Lurkers, they basically stall a Protoss army. They're that higher tech for the Zerg, as they prevent the Protoss really just from running on in and storming you to death. So a few of those are very critical for Namshar, but look at his worker count. Let's take a look at the incomes here. Never mind, it was played without WCS Game Heart, so we can't actually take a look at the graph there. But no, Probe's income definitely better. I mean, I said he cut workers early on. No, now he's on a very healthy economy. Equal drones with the Zerg. Namshar has been around like 50, between 50 and 60 for a while, which isn't optimal for the Zerg. He's now getting up his 4th base, and he is going to be maxed out, so his army will be scary. But, I mean, yeah, it's still a little bit concerning here for Namshar. He's making more Lurkers, which is going to help him out. Yet to get to a hive, so he can't get that adaptive talent, so the Lurkers can't burrow too quickly. And now we're seeing Probe maybe moving on in here. Look at all those High Templar. Oh my god, that is a lot of Psystorm right there. How many Templar are we looking at? That's what, 11 High Templar, each with many, many Psystorms? I hate to say it, but that might actually be a few too many. I don't know if Probe needs more High Templars, as the odds that he's actually going to call in, what, like 22 Psystorms? I'm not sure how likely that is. I mean, he can try, and he's going to be able to make one heck of a storm, but okay, let's see. I mean, Probe hanging out towards the 3rd base. The Lurkers are doing a good enough job at dissuading Probe from going on in. Namshar now looking for a bit of counter damage. He's got Hydras and Roaches heading towards this 3rd base, but there's plenty to defend for Probe. We're seeing Probe being like, okay, you're sitting back as a Zerg with Lurkers. We're going to be taking this a little bit further. He is looking to push on in, get some nice Psystorms, and punish his opponent. Oh, look at this Namshar. There's no way he can engage into this army. Psystorm is just so good defensively off creep. These Hydras are getting on in here, but they get demolished. So this is looking like a great game for Probe, and just playing very, very well. Look at this Prism warping into the main, warping into the natural at the same time. I mean, looks like that Namshar will be able to deal with this, at least at the 3rd, going to get some units into the main base. So not taking too much damage, but look at that Probe. He pulled his opponent out of position, and now Namshar, he's got a ton of Lurkers, but they're eating so much Psystorm. Yeah, Probe is just going to crash on in here. Psystorm has gone down all over these units, but Namshar might actually be able to still dislodge Probe. I mean, that was a pretty good engagement there for Probe, but I guess he still had to back off. There was just a lot of Zerg, and suddenly a lot of those High Templar did die to the Lurkers. And Probe, gotta be careful. All his High Templar are now gone, and Namshar's supply is still pretty darn good. Look at this. Roaches and Hydras counterattacking at the 4th base of Probe. I mean, he attacked on in there, but I'm not sure what happened to all those High Templar. I mean, there was a lot there, and they definitely didn't call in all those Psystorms, so that was a bit of waste for Probe. He's got more High Templar, though. He's going to be able to clean up this counterattack, so he's still on a good economy, on par with Namshar at least. Namshar, though, getting up his 5th base, but Probe, he has been teching behind this. He's got his +3 attack. He's getting up Stargates now. He's going to be going up to 3 Stargates, and that's where Protoss generally goes when you've got to beat lurkers, say into carriers or Tempest, something like that. We're seeing a random singular Adept warping in for Probe. That's an interesting one. Where's that Adept? Okay, the Wall Adept. Okay, I see. But no, yeah. I mean, Namshar, he's held on. He's getting towards his hive, so this game's going longer. It looked like it could have ended at any minute there, but no. Both these players stabilizing here. Namshar, he just had a lot of supply from making a ton of Roach Hydra, and that's what kept him in this game. But let's see, where's this game going from here? Carapace, level 2 on the way for Namshar, so going to be having, I guess, a slight upgrade lead maybe, but he is going to have to deal with carriers soon, which can be very problematic for Zerg when that number gets very high up. Lurkers, great at defending versus the ground, but that's when Probe is making these carriers, so we'll probably need to see Mass Spore from Namshar. He's getting up Pathogen Glands, so Infestor's a great anti-air tool. Probe's looking to continue pushing into his opponent here. Cotton Balls, Immortals, and High Templar are looking to move on in, but Namshar doing a good job getting into position just in time. He's got the hive done, so I would like to see Adaptive Talons start. I mean, he may be focusing on getting up Infestors, but he's got the money right now, and it's definitely worth it as a Zerg player to be able to reposition those lurkers very quickly. For those of you maybe unaware, Adaptive Talons, it basically means that the lurkers are very, very quick when they unburrow. It's basically instant. For now, though, we are seeing Namshar go hard onto that Infestor count, onto just that Infestor tech, really. I mean, not hard onto the count. He's only going to have 3. But that's because he's maxed out. He's freed up a bit of supply now, it would seem. And can invest in, say, some more Infestors, something like that. He's building up a bank, as Zerg players generally do. But this game, it's going later. I mean, it seems that Protoss have wanted to end games before this stage lately, but that doesn't mean that they can't play it. Look at those lurkers burrow. They could be burrowing quicker if he got Adaptive Talons. Let's see it. Let's see it, Namshar. That's a good upgrade for now, though. He is getting into a Greater Spire. He's getting into Corruptors. Going to have Infestors, and that's a pretty good Zerg composition. The Infestors cannot be underrated for their anti-air these days. Just infested Terrans that they toss out. So good at slaughtering Interceptors, at slaughtering carriers. And then Corruptors, also pretty darn good versus carriers. Really makes them have to stay near Archons and High Templar to be effective. By the way, those Hydras massacred those Zealots. Probe still just continually pushing out, but gets fungled, has to recall. Losing a few units here. Namshar, I mean, he's stabilized. There's no doubt about it. Here we are heading into the later stage of the game. I was just going to say Namshar is probably going to be wanting to expand again pretty soon, but Probe actually looking to get up an expansion, which is great to see. He's had a great economy this game, but you got to keep that going, so getting up that base is very, very critical. And, yeah, let's see. I mean, he's going to have a bank. He's getting up more Stargates. Oh, my God. Probe's going up to 6 Stargates. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen a Protoss player commit this much to air tech, but he's doing it, and he's getting up cannons and shield batteries at this location, which I love to see. That's one of the strengths of Protoss defense. And Probe is continuously moving out on the map. Got to be careful. Going to lose an Archon here as he engages towards these Hydras. Just small skirmishes out on the map. Looks like a Stalker maybe denied the space, as Namshar is looking to expand again, just to match Probe. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So still pretty good economy-wise for the Protoss player. Of course, Namshar has a bank, but it's not that big of a bank. So, I mean, Namshar, he's got minerals. Let's see Namshar throw up a hatchery, maybe. An extra hatchery. Adaptive Talons is on the way, by the way. Throw up a hatchery, throw up a bit more static defensive here, Namshar. For now, he's pushing on in, though. Identifies that it is a lot of carriers on the way. And he actually fires up more Broodlords, interestingly enough. I don't know. I don't actually know if you can cancel Broodlords. I believe you can. Yeah, definitely. But, do you really need 9 Broodlords when your opponent's committing so much into the carriers? I guess you do to stop the High Templar, but Definitely going to need a lot of infestors here if you're Namshar. I'd like to see some more spore crawlers go up. He's got a couple to help on out, but Probe's army is really powering up. He's got the carriers, he's got the Immortals and High Templar, and this is a very, very good unit composition. He's stepping forward. I don't know if he's going to be able to break this, as we could be seeing some nasty neural, a fungal to get things started, storming some of the Broodlords, softening them up, but look at this. Looks like Probe might be push back. Yeah, maybe gonna lose a unit or two. Fungal going down on this carrier. Hydra's coming in to pick it off, but we are seeing Namshar engage off creep. Psystorm is going down all over the army of Namshar. The Broodlords can try and work away on the High Templar, clear the ground, but I mean, the infested Terran that was supposed to help deal with the carriers get shut down. In the end, though, it is enough to push Probe back. Both those players trading on out. Maybe Probe could have pushed the issue, as I mean, it was really just like 7 carriers versus 15 Hydras, but there was a few infested Terran there, and they slaughter interceptors, so Probe just going to continuously build up back at home, getting more attack upgrades, which really benefits the carriers. Also going for some Zealot counter-harassment, but it's being dealt with. A nice counterattack from Namshar, though, running lurkers in towards the space. They got that adaptive talents. They basically just, like, dive into the ground there. High Templar, I mean, they're not doing a lot to help out versus this, so a nice move for Namshar. Probe's actually getting fungaled, could be losing a few carriers here. I don't know if he has recall, but now may be the time, as definitely over-committing there a little bit, trying to get some of those carriers out, but the infestors, I don't know if they're going to let them escape. Yeah, units going down for Probe. This game is definitely by no means over, I'd say, but Namshar is starting to look a little bit scary. Probe committed to this late game, but he hasn't had a lot of success with it so far, as Namshar is starting to look a little bit like a runaway train in a sense. He's just building up such a bank. Probe is investing so much into these carriers, but Namshar with his infestors is pretty good at dealing with them. I mean, attacking into a defensive Zerg who's got infestors, which are building up energy, is very, very tough to do as a Protoss. I mean, Protoss definitely had the favorable late game in the past, but the new infestors cannot be underrated with the feedback nerf. They are just so useful for dealing with that. And we're seeing Probe build into these carriers, but Namshar making infestors and corruptors, I feel as if it's the better unit composition. Of course, Probe can play the late game by trying to pull his opponent apart, and that's what he's been doing. He's been very continuous with the Warp Prism harassment, but it seems to just be one thing that Namshar is having to deal with. It's like, okay, you're harassing my main base. Probe hasn't really managed to hit multiple locations. He's warping in some Dark Templar now, which can try and hit the Zerg player, but he's investing in a lot of static defense, so Namshar looking good this game so far. Probe sort of just hanging out with this Prism for now, biding his time. And yeah, this is a late game, make no mistake about it. It's been a while since I cast a PvZ. It's great to see where this matchup is at in this day and age, but so far, a nice move from Probe coming on in. Gonna be looking to deny this hatchery. Oh, you gotta kill the hatchery, Probe. The DT runs out. The Zealots are staying put. They're gonna go down. Gets the hatchery, though. A nice delay there. Keep in mind, it is still even bases versus even bases, which is pretty good for the Protoss, I believe. Resources lost-wise, let's take a look. Zerg player being the efficient one. Probe continuing on with his air upgrades. Would be good to see him keep going on with his shield upgrades. Big Zealot warping. Managed to take out one of the Spires here, but the other stays alive. The Prism trying to get out of there, but Corruptors are pursuing it, and it is toast. There we go. Toast. And let's see. Double Spire on the way for Namshar again. He's like, okay, I'll make 3. When you got a bank, it's worth to invest in that. We see the 1 DT coming back to harass this hatchery. Plus 3 DTs deal 60 damage a swipe, so they can actually kill a hatchery pretty darn quickly. Let's see, one more swipe. Okay, one more swipe, and he gets it. Gets the kill. Worth it for the DT. Hatchery has to be rebuilt there. 19 drones on the way for Namshar, as he's invested a lot into static defense. A DT makes it into the main. Gonna kill a Spire, which is a nice move. Of course, there is the 2 more building Spires, so Namshar covering himself in that sense. DT maybe going to get an infestation pin. I mean, these buildings do cost money, so it's a worthwhile trade. This DT, he is going to go down, though. Meanwhile, as this is progressing, Probe just building up more Nexus, getting up more upgrades. Great to see level 3, level 2. Both these players investing in a lot of upgrades. I like seeing Probe invest in cannons and shield batteries. Everything considered, though, I don't know who's going to take it, because this is building up to be one big fight. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a look. Like, man, 22 infestors that are all building up so much energy. This is going to be one of those late game PvZs. Let's take a look. Greater Spire on the way. More hatcheries on the way. Namshar just really starting to secure his half of the map. Probe not going to be able to harass this base for long once all that static defense is up. Zealots get on in once again, but Probe's harassment, it's kind of like he's just throwing away money at this point. It's not really worth it. And this is where it becomes a little bit concerning for the Protoss player, because at the end of the day, you got to deal with the Zerg army, and taking a good fight, I mean, carriers are very good units, but taking a fight versus this many infestors, it's got to be something that's done quick. You got to pull a fast one on your opponent, I feel, because in a head-on fight, there's just going to be so many spells used by Namshar. And, yeah, it's just going to be good for Namshar. Look at all those infested, or those, God, I'm drawing a blank here. Changelings, that's the word for it. I'm like, no, those are not infested Terrans. I swear, guys, I cast Starcraft a lot. Okay, let's take a look. Carriers coming on in. One thing about the carriers is that they have their strength without the spells. So, I mean, if Probe dives on in, it would have been nice to see him get that hatchery, but not overstaying his welcome, because the infestors are repositioning. And one of the scary things is these infestors have so much energy. Like, this is just mass energy on these infestors. This could be like hundreds of infested Terrans. Somehow DTs got in and killed off this base, despite there being spores and spine crawlers there. I honestly don't know how they managed that, but they are running away happily. There might have been a lot more DTs in the first place. And they will not survive. Hydras pop them off. An Immortal hit squad on the ground. Looking to continue guarding Probe's territory. Just 5 Immortals being cool, I guess. Gotta be careful. You don't want to lose 5 Immortals for nothing. They are pretty darn expensive these days. Yeah. Careful, Probe. Immortal's pretty good, though. Probe looking to continuously pull his opponent out of position. One of the very important things for Probe is the fact that he does have a recall available. If he overcommits, he kind of has that as a saving grace. But he's got to be careful, man. These infestors are coming forward. Probe, you got to get out of there. Like, you can't take a fight versus this. All it takes is a few nasty spells and you are done. One High Templar and an Observer are going to pay the price. A Psystorm gets dropped. Oh, actually a pretty decent Psystorm, hitting off a lot of those infestors. And guys, infestors are weak. So, I mean, one Psystorm pretty much puts him in the deep red if it connects the whole way. Transfuse going down on the injured infestors, though. Namshar, one of these European Zergs, very, very good at using those spells. Let's take a look. More drones on the way. Melee on the way. Just, these players are going to get pretty much every upgrade that they can think of. Probe, though, he's doing a good job right now. I'm liking the way he's playing this out. We take a look at the banks, and they've actually sort of equalized a fair bit. Probe's starting to build up his own. Trying to get in with this Zealot harassment, pulling the infestors and corruptors and hydras out of position. But look at this. Probe moves in. 1-2 punch. Those Zealots, they sacrificed their lives so that Probe could come on in and pick off this space. What an epic Protoss versus Zerg we have here. A few Hydras are coming on in. They're going to try their luck against these cannons. One of the cannons might get picked off. Actually, a recall getting used. Okay, Probe recalls over here. I feel like that was a questionable recall, guys. Like, Probe trying to pull a fancy move and I guess just bounce around, maybe? But that's his escape card. Like, that is his get-out-of-jail-free card. He just burned, and now Probe's moving into attack. Okay, I am worried here. Oh, man, are those infestors going to catch this? Oh, God. This could be bad here. There's Vipers, there's Corruptors, there's everything here. There's a few High Templar. There's my mouse that's totally stopping working. Oh, my God. Now's not the time, but yeah, look at this. Probe, uh-oh. Did he just doom himself? Recalling over here was a very bizarre move. He's getting his licks in other places. Tons of Zealots and other units harassing, but this game is all about the main fight. Make no mistake. Both these guys have such a high-value army. Probe does escape out of there. Looks like this Prism got cleaned up. Once again, this base on the right side was denied. A nice move by Probe. Resources lost. Not super concerning for either side. 4K is definitely within reason. So nothing to worry about too much for Probe. But man, look at this. He's just building more and more carriers. Yeah, that recall. Guys, like, that made me nervous. You want to have a recall as a Protoss in case something goes wrong. That is your get out of jail free card. You say, uh-oh, you press whatever your, for me it would be 5, then you press R, and then you click your army and you pray. That's usually how it goes. Zealots harassing the Spore Crawlers. I'm liking Probe's continuous Zealot harassment, but you do have to be careful as a Protoss. It is a classic mistake that some Protoss overcommit to this, and they actually begin throwing away resources, which they may need at the end of the game. But this attack is getting value, that's for sure. Picking off a fair few drones. Picking off some static defense. This one Zealot doing work. Will get cleaned on up though, but as this goes down, Probe moves on in, cleans up this hatchery once again. Namshar has not successfully expanded to this. Meanwhile, Zealot's getting into the main base, but yeah, they're not going to be making it happen. Recall, there we go. Nice move from Probe. Was that the mothership that recalled that? No, it was actually just off cooldown again. Once again, that timer restarts. 80 seconds. I think it's like 90 seconds in total for a recall, I want to say. Oracle gets abducted there. The Vipers for Namshar. Just very high value units. Prism is moving out for Probe once again. I mean, I'm loving this PvZ, guys. It's not every day that we see this anymore. Probe even throwing away some of his probes, sacrificing himself in a sense. Oh man, look at that! Look at that guy float. That was a cool particle effect there. Warp Prism going in once again for Probe. Gonna see what it can get. Keep in mind, this is a fair few minerals that's Probe's throwing into this attack, so it is a commitment. And Namshar, he's got nothing else to deal with while Probe's going for this attack, so all of a sudden it's just gonna be like, Zealots in your main, and Namshar will say, okay, I'm gonna come deal with this, and this is wasted money, guys. Like, look at how hard Probe is trying to get this, but he's not gonna get it. And that was like 1,000 resources that he just threw away. The Prism escapes, but that was like, yeah, that was like 10 Zealots. And that sort of money starts to add up. That is the difference between the resources lost. It's very good to be always hitting your opponent as a Protoss, but you do got to be careful not to keep throwing that money away. Because when it does get to these late game situations, which we're in, make no mistake, this is a late game situation, that you eventually got to start really worrying about the resources lost. It's relatively close on both sides, so there's definitely leeway for both players. Look at this harassment, or I guess a bit of a counterattack coming on in. Cannons and shield batteries doing their best to stand up to these Hydras, but the Hydras actually do crash the gates here. The Lynx and Hydras, with their high upgrades, do make mincemeat of the static defense. Probe has coming in to defend it. He gets on in with the Warp Prism once again, picks off the Hive this time. Going to be able to pick off the infestation pit, so that's at least a bit of value there. If he gets the spawning pool too, that would be nice. That would really reset the tech of his opponent. A lair already did start for Namshar, though the Zealot's going to trade on out with the Lings the best they can, but these are 3/3 adrenal gland Lings, and they definitely win out versus Zealots. Look at this, another massive warp in for Probe. This is a lot of money he's spending trying to make this happen, but I mean, these Zealots are doing pretty good. It's kind of like just a choke point, Battle of Thermopylae or whatever. In the end, they get surrounded and die, though. Oh, looks like we're seeing a bit of an engagement. Lots of spells being used for Namshar. Picking up a carrier. That assimilation successful is the sound that's music to Zerg players' ears. As it's basically, your unit is now mine. Zealots into the main base. Once again, Probe is being relentless with this Prism. It has yet to be cleaned on up by his opponent. Of course, these Zealots are all getting killed off. Probe saves a few of them. Now gonna go here. Getting the Spires would be absolutely very, very nice. For now, though, Probe double expanding. I like this choice. Oh, Zealot almost kills off Queen. Zealot's going for the Lurker Den. Okay. Look at this. This is like 8 Zealots here. This is expensive, guys. I can't say it enough. These Zealots need to get more than killing off an infestation pit. Because unless you're using the harassment to actually kill your opponent, It's not worth it. Like, recall this probe. This is a lot of zealots. Recall these dudes. Get them out of there. They are stuck. Like, guys, this is like 15, 16... Yeah, 1,500 resources. Okay, he's gonna get a hatchery that's not mining. Which is nice, I guess. It is pulling his opponent out of position, so Probe may be able to move in and wipe a better base, and it looks like he will. So, I mean, I'm criticizing the cost of this harassment. But getting on in to clear this base is actually a lot of value for Probe, so that's very nice for him. I know I'm being critical, guys. But no, a great move from Probe, actually. Oh, gotta be careful, though, with those carriers. Those infestors are still absolutely lethal. Counterattack going down. Probe's bases. Not a lot of static defense at him this time around. Well, we'll see if he's going to warp in a ton of zealots or something to save this base. Looks like he's focused on a counterattack. Actually shutting down this base of Namshar once again. A great move. Guys, I know I was knocking the harassment that Probe was going for, basically being like you're just throwing away money because he wasn't getting a lot done with those units, but the harassment is justified if you're doing things like picking off this base to the left, picking off the base to the right. Like, there has been moments in which Probe has basically just thrown away money trying to go for this harassment, and it's all about walking that fine line. But so far, Probe has been making great plays here. Infested Terran and Corruptor's going to be going ham on this Nexus. That is some energy burned. Let's see what these carriers can get done. Gotta be so careful. Okay, Probe's on in here. This could be the big fight we've been waiting for. Namshar's waltzing forward. Couple of infested Terran getting tossed out. Revelation going down on the Zerg army. That is huge for the Protoss. And once again, look at that. Probe pressuring down here with his carriers, picking off a base down to the bottom left. Namshar's economy, while it was great, and it's not terrible at this point, he hasn't been able to hold on to one of these bases. So Probe is doing that classic Protoss thing, which you pull your opponent out and hit them in another location. Of course, Namshar also getting his licks in, though, trying to shut down these bases. This Nexus somehow still alive. I feel like this one down to the south here is going to be getting picked off. That will be a nice move for Namshar. So both these guys getting damage done. If we do look at the resources lost, it's been pretty darn consistent. About a 5k gap between them, which is definitely noteworthy. It's nothing too massive, but take a look at Probe's mineral count. That would be equal. I'm going to take a guess that there's probably been something around like 50, 60 zealots that have gone down this game. The mothership is going down, by the way. Okay, 220. I was definitely off. Guys, this is a 37-minute PvZ. It's been a long time since I cast one of these, and if you think that Probe's going to stop making zealots just because he's running out of minerals, you are wrong. He's just going to make even more of them. He says, right, I got to spend the money while I got it. I'd like to see him try and get these units out, though. I mean, that's a lot of money there. That's the reason why Probe is really down on the minerals. The Zealot harassment has been getting good work done, but Namshar is the player with the bank still. Is the player with the more, I guess, value army, I believe, still. Nope, Probe's army has actually gone ahead. So that has changed up as Probe has invested in this very high-value army. Zealots and DT is going to be hitting this base. The Hydra's not enough to stand up to them. So good harassment here getting done by Probe. These units still finding some value. We'll see if Namshar can clean them up. But look at this. Probe is moving on in. Oh, you got to be so careful for Probe. No mothership anymore. And he's actually stopped moving. Uh-oh, this could be it for Probe. He's getting surrounded. The Infestor's tossing out spells. Psystorm trying to cover himself as Probe is being pushed back. The High Templar being picked off by the Broodlords. So suddenly there's nothing to give that AoE to dissuade the Corruptors, to dissuade the infested Terran. A lot of these Infestors are being picked off, though. So we may be seeing Probe taking a great fight there. Yeah, Namshar, he definitely loses more of his units there. And while it looked dicey, a lot of the High Templar for Probe went down. He's still got a lot of these carriers. Of course, he's trying to rebuild these Interceptors, as these infested Terran are just going to be able to shred through them. So Probe might just have to sack this base, might just have to pull off. He's getting good harassment done as this is going on. But take a look at the economy, guys. Probe is pretty broke at this point in the game. He's got a few more Psystorms coming on in because he's got a ton of minerals. So, I mean, he's not going to have a High Templar shortage, but rebuilding these Interceptors does cost money for Probe. His bank, it goes down the second that it goes up. These Probes that are trying to build up, this is hurting for Probe. He's running out of minerals here, and that might have something to do with 230 Zealots. But let's see this. Nice counterattack going down for Namshar. Probe has absolutely nothing to respond to this. He can't just warp in units. And Probe's actually just going for it. He says, okay, you're out of energy, Namshar. I'm going to kill you. But oh man, Probe, he's suddenly got all these infested Terran popping out underneath him. The Interceptors, though, there's so many of them. They're going to shred through this. I don't know if there's enough Corruptors here to deal with these carriers. So the carrier's unchecked while Probe, he's fighting with just what he's got. And what you see is what you get for Probe right now. It's actually making this attack work. Both players down on supply. Namshar, he's making 19 Corruptors, though. He's still kept his Infestors on the ground, and this could be where it becomes very dicey for Probe. He's just still building more of these Interceptors. That's where all of his money's going, but I'm afraid for Probe that all of a sudden, once these extra Corruptors are out, Namshar is going to be able to dive on top of this. There is no High Templar support here, and that is what carriers need when fighting Corruptors, when fighting Interceptors. Oh god, these Infestors are making me nervous, but if Probe can pick them off before this entire army's here. But there's the Fungal. I think you can't even recall while Fungal, can you? So, I mean, Probe, he is committed here. He's taken the fight. He's got so many carriers, but they're starting to go down. Can they make this happen? I don't know. He needs to focus down the Corruptors, and that's exactly what he's doing. This fight is going to be so close. The army supply is so close. It looks like that Probe is able to do it. Namshar, what's he making right now? Not a lot. Has Probe done it? Oh my god, this has been so close. What an insane PvZ here. The main base of Probe is still under fire. He's mining pretty much nothing. He's got a massive gas bank, though. So Probe, if he's got some gateways somewhere, but he actually doesn't, so he can't actually... Well, he's got 2 gateways, but he can't really warp in anything more. That being said, though, he's getting a few High Templar over here. He's got 8 carriers left. Gets Psystorm on the Infestors, and that is the majority of Namshar's army. Namshar, well, he had a bit of a bank. That's pretty much all gone. He's fighting over his Spore Crawlers, trying to do what he can. Probe, though, with a bit of a bank, I think he's actually done it. I think he brought down Namshar. This was such a close game, but no, fantastically done. Probe just making the call to go in there to kill his opponent, and I think Namshar is that. He is dead. Well done by Probe here, as manages to bring down all the defense, manages to crash through. Namshar's bank is gone. He's trying to squeeze out a few more Corruptors, but it's just not going to be enough. His Infestor count, it has tanked. And all of a sudden, yeah, the Zerg player is dead. I mean, he's got a lot of counter damage done. He's cleaned his opponent's face, but the standing army, it's enough. It's enough for Probe, make no doubt about it. Probe, not even rebuilding his Interceptors, by the way. He's like, I'm going to need my minerals. So he's actually turned them off auto-building because these carriers are running short. Namshar does have a lot of static defense, though, that he can sort of hide around. So, I mean, he can hold on, maybe. It's tough to say. Look at this, though. Probe building up 6 gateways. Doesn't have a ton of money, but he's got enough. And once he's got those gateways up, he's going to be able to make a ton of Archons. Realizing how much money he has, he's now even rebuilding his Interceptors. And he's just pretty comfortable with the spot he's got himself in. Namshar counterattacking, but such a small income for both players. But Probe's army, I think he's just done it. Oh my god, the resources lost in this game, guys. There's like 160,000 resources lost in this game. This was pretty much a mined out situation. Namshar still has his base to the right. I don't know how this survived or whether he rebuilt it. So, I mean, he can mine a little bit. He's got some Lings going for counterattacks, doing what Lings do best. I mean, if he can pull Probe around long enough, maybe Namshar can stabilize, but the fact that all of his static defense is over here, I was just going to say, there we go. He needs to reposition all this because this base up here is everything. But Probe is coming on in now, and I don't think there's going to be time for Namshar to stabilize. Yeah, look at this. He's going to have to sack this base. Probe is coming on in. Oh, yeah, look at this. Probe is being so cautious as well. The Spores and Spines are coming on in. Namshar knows this base is critical, but he's not going to be able to hold it. Those Spores, they are everything right now. They are basically the extra value that Namshar has. He's got to save those. No, a few of them walking forward by accident, and you can't afford to lose things like that if you are Namshar right now. And I think Probe has just done it. Spell's going down, but it's not enough. Looks like Probe has taken down Namshar in a fantastic game here. What a PvZ. If you guys stayed to the end, hit that like button. That was a 43-minute Protoss versus Zerg. It's been a while since I cast one of those. I saw this replay and I thought, this looks like a good game, and it was fantastic. Okay, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as I'm putting out a lot more of these casts. Probe and Namshar, this was from a best of 5, so there's actually going to be 1 or 2 more great games, I think, that might be pretty similar to this. So after this one, I think I might just cast those. Not right now because my voice is tanked after this, but no. What a Protoss versus Zerg. And yeah, just a great game. I know I'm a critical caster, guys. Like, I know I'm going to be a little bit critical of players because I like to see sort of, you know, peak performance. I did knock on Probe a bit about all the zealots, about all the harassment. I mean, in the end, though, it did destabilize Namshar enough that he was able to kill him, but, oh man, that was close with how broke Probe was at the end there. But no, in the end, just what a great game between these two. Just fantastic play by Probe, making it work. Namshar, of course, he played a great PvZ, just trying to hold on, do the thing in which you just sort of accept the Protoss attacks and be more efficient, and he was up until the very end, but he did just take a bit too much damage from that harassment. There was a reason why Probe was like warping in 10 zealots here and there, but that's because they were getting some value. But enough of that. That was a crazy, crazy game. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. I shall see you guys next time. Make sure to hit that like button. If you guys stayed to the end, let's try and hit that 20 like mark. That's the goal here. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.